All right. So I've been doing some thinking about some stuff, right? And actually, over the past few months, we've been thinking about stuff. And I was having a conversation the other day that kind of like, I explained something to somebody and it made everything kind of make more sense to me. You ever like explain something and you go, holy shit, that's why the fuck these motherfuckers say this shit, right? So I think I found an easier way to argue for monarchy, right? It's the argument of, aren't you tired of like every 4 years having to worry about how badly you'll be molested by the next like government that comes in? Right? That's some basic ass shit, right? That's some like really simple things to understand as a whole, right? Some very, very simple shit to comprehend. Aren't you tired of this constantly dealing with this nonsense all the fucking time? Right? So there's two choices. Either A, you elect a king, right, which you can elect for life, and you no longer have to worry about how badly you'll be molested because you have a king, but it'll be unaccountable, which is the issue, right? And that's a trade-off right there. Is either you have a king who's unaccountable, or we can go to a sectional system, which I think might be a better option. I don't know who said it, but there was a dude who said, he said, all people are better ruled by those, who are like them. And in this country, we have two types of people, the cosmopolitan individuals and the regular humans who actually do jobs. It's somewheres and the anywheres, right? And the anywheres have been gaining in numbers in the past, I don't know, fucking 40 years since college has become ubiquitous, right? So I was thinking about it, right, as a whole. I was just thinking about it. We were sitting there thinking about, like, how do we make a system where you can basically have two separate governments, right? Because, like, my answer, has always been, like, balkanization, which, everybody's like, I don't want to do all this. So I'm going to give you all a secondary option, right? Here's your secondary option. This is a sectional system. And I'll break this down for you to make you explain it really simple. On the right-hand side, these are city-states, okay? These here, New York, Chicago, L.A., I don't know, fucking San Francisco, Atlanta, fucking, I don't know, Dallas, Austin, Massachusetts, Boston, right? Richmond, whatever, Philadelphia, whatever, right? These are your city-states over here, right? These are where, the anywheres live. This is going to basically remain the same as it is right now. They get to keep the same government, okay? And their government is the government of, like the USG, the unaccountable bureaucratic system, right? And then over here, what you have is, like all the people who do like normal jobs and just regular human beings who want to live and be unmolested and have children and, just have a normal life, right, as a whole. Here's how this works. So out of these groups, you're always going to produce aristocrats, right? So you need a place, right, for the upper class, smarter, just people who, in general, used to be what would feel like the priest class, right? Or, like the nobles, these individuals in your society, right? And then, what you do is you have, each of these has like a certain number of these towns or these normal groups of people who will end up, being part of, or end up being like responsible by like these people here. These people will be responsible for whatever group, right? And then this block here elects king, right? And this king goes to the USG, right? This is added to the, like US Constitution as a whole. And what it says is basically no, okay? And his job is to keep things unmolested and maintain trade and like proper exchange, right? Because these city-states over here are going to need like food, right? Beef and pigs and chickens and, wheat and grain and all the stuff that's produced by these normal human beings over here, okay? So these normal human beings make stuff, right, that gets sold to them, right? But it's just regular manufactured or agricultural goods. It is not, right, artisanal or anything like that. It's not, you're not producing art or music or literature for these people because you don't want these people getting acclimated to like giving into the taste of these people, okay? And these people over here don't buy anything from these fucks, okay? These people sell stuff to people outside of the country or themselves, right? These people over here buy things from each other, right? And they buy their own manufactured goods in their own towns, in their own areas, right? And these people stay the fuck away from them. And that is this guy's job right here. Okay, this star. This is your fucking king. His job, right, is to make sure that these fucks don't deal with these fucks. And these fucks back him up, right? It almost looks like, you know what I mean, like a football playbook, right? In the end of the day, right? This is what this looks like. It looks like a sports game, right? And that's what these X's are. These X's are literally like buffer zone, right? Like, yet no, right? The whole entire job of this guy, and this is where he becomes accountable, is to have these group of dudes here who at any time, if he starts acting away, right, starts getting corrupt, starts, you know what I mean, doing shit, and, or tries to do things that, like, you know what I mean, would end up molesting any of this, he can get recalled by these motherfuckers here, right? And this is a city-state model. It's also what's known as a sectional system, okay? And in these sectional systems, the best thing that you can do is have these people here live normal lives and produce children, okay? Now, since these people don't produce children, okay, as a whole, they're not going to produce kids. They're going to have to take applications from some of these people here. They're going to go to schools and do normal things that human beings, you know what I mean, have done forever, right? And somebody who stands out or just in general does not fit in with the regular, you know what I mean, way of life is, right? They can go and become cosmopolitan people. And it's okay. Right. And so, like, you know, if you produce a kid and he's just effeminate and weak and, you know what I mean, just wants to do like crazy ill shit, right? You send him to the cities. And he goes there. Right. And the cities go, oh, welcome. You're not part of them. Here, you can be part of us. But the thing is, they have no idea that this is an option. That's for these guys here to do. Okay. These guys here set these type of systems up. Where, like, you know, there's somebody who, like, you know, in general doesn't fit in, and it's not an hatred thing. It's not an anger thing. It's a, listen, it's okay if your kid don't fit in. Don't beat him. Don't try to make him fit, right? Listen, let us know, and you can send him over here, right? And I understand you don't want to lose your child or whatever it is, but on the same level, there's places for him to go. He might not be made to be one of us, and that's fine. Right. And this is a better way. It's like having a release valve, right? The same way Mexico has a release valve that is the United States border. Same thing over here. It's a release valve. Or, like, you know, in the Amish communities, when you have somebody who, you know, I mean, doesn't fit in being Amish, like, they leave on Rumspringa and they don't come back. And that's okay, because that's part of life. Because not everybody's going to be able to be one of these human beings over here who just goes to work every day and does their thing and is stable, right? Because what you need to produce children in a proper nation and normal human beings is stability, right? And which we are lacking fucking severely in our modern civilization. We in general don't have stability. Now none of these numbers or anything like this, don't like, listen, I just copy and pasted some things to make it look, you know what I mean, like where you could possibly understand. You can understand some of what the fuck is going on here, right? These are not like to scale, anything of this nature. Okay, in any way, this is not what this is about. This is not doing math or anything of this nature. This is giving a option. Okay, I feel like what we are lacking right now is imagination and options and what could be. Right, and we need to start thinking about, like, hey, what else could we do that would make this a little bit better? Right, and make this more livable for all of us. So that, you know, we're not over here at each other's throats all the time. We're not doing political violence. We're not having a fucking civil war, right? We have other options. I think it's important when you make, you know what I'm saying, like non-violent shit really hard to do, you make violent shit inevitable. Okay, and you shouldn't be making violent shit inevitable. Right? Right. You shouldn't be making violent stuff just inevitable. You should have stuff be peaceful as a whole, right? And any transition that we have should be peaceful, because it can be peaceful. There's no reason to squabble and argue, right? But there are reasons to change things. And I've been having a lot of conversations recently where I'm like, hey, look, aren't you fucking tired of being molested? Aren't you tired of constantly going through this fucking dumb shit? Because I'll tell you what, like, at this point, democracy seems fucking dumb, right? It seems like a massive pain in the dick for no fucking reason whatsoever. Other than, like, it's a system that was invented in, like, fucking Greece 2,000 years ago. And we tried it multiple times, and it runs its course, and then it ends up with oligarchies or fucking, anarchy or war and bullshit, right? I feel like eventually you have to understand that, like, there are differences in human beings, right? There is that, man, listen, Pareto's number, right? Like the Pareto distribution, where literally, like 10% of the people produce, like 90% of the shit or whatever it is, right? This is how this operates, and you should accept the fact that there's another 90% of the people who just want to live their fucking lives, right? And they just want to be humans, and we should allow that to be a thing. And this is where we should be, right? Because, like, the normal human being, like, wants to belong in a community, and the same on the other side, they want to belong in a community of their own people. Like, why do we have to constantly go back and forth with this bullshit? Why do we always have to worry about GDP number go up? Why do we always have to worry about providing for fucking everybody, right? Why can't we have communities and families that provide for some, and others, like, you can have them in a city where they have the ability to provide for themselves, right? And this is kind of where things get to. Why can't we have a better solution for this? I honestly believe there is a better solution. I think this might be it, right? And, I think this is a better way of doing things, right? Rather than having, and this is, this is me and Yarvin and Mr. Google, right? Me and Mr. Google sat down for 6 hours and worked this shit the fuck out the one night, right? Where, like, listen, there are going to be people who are going to want to be aristocrats, right? And that's cool, right? And, like, your aristocrats are going to be put in the places where aristocrats go. They're going to have the ultimate power of being able to recall and call people back from motherfucking, like, the large-scale government, to recall kings, be responsible for kings, or even be a king, right? As a whole, you'll be a fucking monarch, right? And that monarch's job is literally just to say no, right? And this is what it is. And this is, like, I think a little more beautiful, right? Where, like, you have more stability and you're not molested by, like, the fucking cosmopolitan elites, right? And, like, you have to have reminders of why we did this and understand, like, what history really is, right? And if you really want to get down and dirty, like, you can get back to, like, being, like, Amish. You can do whatever the fuck you want, right? And you can tie this into, like, my communitarian ideologies of having, like, local foods and all these type of things, and how you can even get down with, like, different currencies in here if you really wanted to, right? Where you have, like, exchange rates tied to, like, fucking, like, bonds and shit and all the things that go down to it, right? Like, you could have, like, export fucking tokens, and just, you could have all these things that get involved with all these things that are really beautiful, right? And give you a possibility of doing a lot of different things, right? On the other side where, like, all these green people are. And over here, you could, have a high trust society full of, like, cosmopolitan elites who live in Burning Man style fucking, like, cities, right? And it would be great for them. And that's cool. And it's like, them enjoying themselves, and living the way they're supposed to live. But over here, these human beings are meant to live as, like, human beings. They just want to grill. They want to be left alone. That's what everybody wants to do. They're grill Americans. And that's great. Okay? I love the grill too. Hell, man, listen, I came home, got some groceries and shit. I was up in the mountains with my family this weekend and shit, right? Fucking did a camp out, and, I'm up at night, so, like, I fucking left at, like, 4:30 in the morning. I'm like, oh, this ain't gonna work out. I'm gonna be tired at, like, fucking 5, and I'm gonna want to pass out till 12, and fucking they're not gonna let me sleep because they're gonna be up fucking hooting and hollering and shit. It's like, I'll just go home. I don't want to ruin everybody's time, right? You know what I mean? Right, and I came home, and I went to the grocery store, and I came back, and I made cheeseburger suds for my dad, and corn on the cobs, and fucking cut up some cantaloupe and shit, right, you know what I mean? Right, and like, listen, this is what it's supposed to be for regular humans. You just want to grill. Just want to live your life and be with your family. Be a part of something bigger than yourself. You know what I mean? Be attached to other humans, and just know that that's what life's supposed to be about. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Tell you what, tell me what you think in the comment section. I'm Tom Peace with Pnoid News. You know the deal. Like, share, and subscribe. I'm up out of here.